Good evening, good evening. Welcome to my secondary channel, the number one grinder, real talk. Hold on. Let me get this going. Sorry, I'm doing it again. Good evening. Welcome to my secondary channel, the number one grinder, real talk. This is your truth, the number one grinder. One of the best kept secrets on YouTube. Um, I always want to talk about this. I did talk about this on my other channel, my main channel, the Other Red Darkness, a long while ago, and it's time to revisit this. It's very serious, and even I will break it down why it's still happening today. And also, I'm gonna read some articles that y'all see in the chat that y'all can follow along too. And also, I'm gonna show you some that maybe you've seen before, you haven't. To have that reminder that us as a people, we still have to fight. We still have to stand together and fight and make sure that we're part of the human race. I know it's going to be disturbing. Certain pictures, it's going to be disturbing. And all I'm saying that just think on it. Think on it. Ebo Sosa, thanks for coming. Glad you showed up. Glad you're showing up. And the title is Let's not forget the Black Massacres in this USA. Like I said, it's going to be some pictures I'm going to show. And it's going to be disturbing. And also, the articles that I'm going to be reading is in the chat, so y'all can follow along. To read, follow up, and then we're going to discuss about why it's so prevalent, disturbing today. Again, the title, Let's Not Forget the Black Massacres in this USA. So what I will do, I'm going to I'll hit this intro with y'all. And we're gonna get this going. Thanks for y'all for coming. Be back. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. Again, welcome to my channel, the number one grind. My channel, number one grind realtor. This is the number one grinder. One of the best kept secrets on YouTube. The best of the business. Be putting it down for a long time. Let me read. Oh, excuse me. Let me read this out first. Um, just remember, us as the righteous ones, we are still winners. That's the real, the number one grinder. Just remember, as long as you practice righteousness, you're still winners, no matter what. No matter what. Again, the title tonight is Let's Not Forget the Black Massacres in This USA. Like I said, the articles is in. Oh, what's up, Sister Beach? How you feel? Like I said, the articles is in the chat. Y'all can follow me. Um, Polo Sport. It's on her channel. So I want y'all to post our articles in the chat so y'all can follow me. I got some pictures. It's just a reminder that still got ways to go. So thank y'all so much. Very much appreciate. Let me mention everybody out. Brother Ebo Sosa, thank you so much. Also, Brother Polo, Sister Beach in the building. Um, Brother She. And let me tell that the articles about the articles first. I don't know what's all that noise they talking about. Let me see. Um, why I why I want to talk about it because is we still some of us still got that massacre mindset. We really do. And we got to deal with it. And it's not just happened. It's happened because yeah, it's on Lady Love's channel. And it seems like we don't want to break no change. We want to stay in this vicious cycle. And so I just want to we have to deal with this one way or the other. We have to deal with it one way or the other. There's no get away from it. Um, at all. And this been in my this been in my spirit for a minute. And also other things too. And and the ones that is in here, I want to let y'all know y'all keep up the good work. I want y'all to know y'all keep up the fine work what you do. Keep on um pushing the truth. Cause I know that it's not easy. It's not easy in our own right, in our own way that we trying to impact people's lives. And so I don't know what's going on here, but the first story that I was going to read, where is it at? Gotta go back get it. God, I thought I posted that motherfucker. Ah, StreamYard, y'all pain in the ass sometimes. Oh, excuse my language. Sorry. Um, this is Black Past. Um, I'm gonna read this out. And oh yeah, Jay Bones, thank you. And it says Black Past, racial violence in United States since 1526. 1526. Um, we get this technical difficulty, get it on everything. And we're gonna get it, we're gonna get it on. Okay. Let's see something. Okay. All right. So the first one I'm gonna read the Black in the Past, and then you're gonna go up on this, you're gonna go up on the chat, and then I'm gonna read the other one. And I'm gonna share some pictures out. So I got you covered. So here you go. Thank y'all for everything. And this is Black Pass. Hit the link. Hit the link so y'all can follow along with me. Hit the link so you can follow along with me. All right. Get this off. Get this off. I don't know why this keep on coming off there and everything. All right. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. All right. Racial violence in the United States since 1526. Hit the link. Y'all can follow right along with me. It says, regrettable. Racial violence has been a distinct part of American history since 1660. While that violence has impacted almost every ethnic and racial group in the United States, it has been particular horrified effect on African American life. Listed below are some of the major incidents of racial violence profile on the website is blackpast.org. Pretty good um, website. You should check it out. They range from revolvers of the enslavement to more recent urban uprisings, such as the Rodney King rise in Los Angeles in 1992. This page does not cover violence afflicting a single individual, such as lynching or police shooting. Please look at those incidents elsewhere on the website. We are consistent update this list, but you think other incidents should be included. Please send their names and a brief description is suggestion of blackpast.org. We especially invite you to write the entire this page. Now, there's just a few categories that deals with different lynching and also cities. So bear with me, read it out. So follow me, please. So this is a revolver of the enslaved. Revolve of the enslaved. San Domingo de Gapia Slave Rebellion, 1526. Gloucester County Conspiracy, 1663. I know that's in Virginia. Bacon Rebellion, 1676. New York City Save Uprising, 1712. Stonewall Rebellion, 1739. New York City Save Conspiracy, 1741. I know about that because that was like New York City. And it was near, they called Seneca. They at that time I think there was a name Seneca Village. That's in Central Park. Gabriel Crossover Revolver, 1800. Igloo Landing Mass Suicide, 1803. Andre Rebellion, 1811. Denmark Vesey Conspiracy, 1822. Nat Turner Revolver, 1831. as we already know, that also happened in Virginia, about 60 miles away from me. Amistad Mutiny, 1839. Creole Case, 1841. Slave Revival of the Cherokee Nation, 1842. Now, another Abelium Urban Violence. Cincinnati Riots, 1829. Anti-Abolition Riots, 1834. Cincinnati Race Riots, 1836. The Pennsylvania Hall Fire, 1838. Christina, Pennsylvania Riots, 1851. Next, Civil War Reconstruction and Post-Reconstruction Era Violence. Detroit's Race Riots, 1863. New York City Draft Riots, 1863. That I'll be reading that in a few minutes. The Memphis Riots, 1866. New Orleans Massacre, 1866. Pulaski Race Riots, 1868. There's a name named Pulaski Street. That's in Brooklyn, New York. Camilla Massacre, 1868. Apollonius Massacre, 1868. The Mediterranean Race Riots, 1881. Chillicothe County Race War, same year. The Carfax Massacre, 1873. Clinton, Mississippi Riots, 1875. Hamburg Massacre, 1876. Carroll County Courtyard Massacre, 1886. The Bayou Massacre, 1887. I remember I did a book report on that back in junior high school. New Orleans Dock Work Riots, 1894 to 1895. Verdun, Illinois Race Riots, 1898. Wilmington Race Riots, 1898. That was in Delaware. Newburgh, New York Race Riots, 1899. Now, you see, race riots. Now, there's another category of race riots. Robert Charles, New Orleans, 1900. New York City Race Riots, same year. Atlanta Race Riots, 1906. Springfield, Illinois Race Riots, 1908. The Silicon Massacre, 1910. East St. Louis Race Riots, 1917. My father was telling me about that because his father told about it. Lives in Georgia. He had family in East St. Louis. Throw that in. Chester's, Pennsylvania Race Riots, 1917. Same year, Houston Mutiny and Race Riots. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania Race Riots, 1918. Charleston, South Carolina, 1919. Longville Race Riots, 1919. Washington, D.C., same year. Chicago, same year. Knoxville, same year. Elaine, Arkansas. You're going to see pictures of that, 1919. Tulsa Race Riots, as we already know, 1921. Also, Rosewood Massacre, 1923. That's in Florida. Harlem Race Riots, 1935. Belmont Race Riots, that's in Texas, 1943. Detroit Race Riots, 1943. Columbia Race Riots, I believe that's in South Carolina, 1946. Peekskill Riot, 1949. That is upstate Peekskill. That's in upstate, going towards upstate New York. That's going towards Sullivan County. Little above Westchester County. The Cicero Riots in 1951. Now, Urban Uprising, 1960 to 2000. Cambridge, Maryland. Riots, 1963. The Harlem Race Riots, again, 1964. Rochester Rebellion, 1964. Jersey City Uprising, 1964. Passing, New Jersey Uprising, 1964. Elizabeth, New Jersey, same year. Chicago, Dismore riots, same year. Philadelphia race riots, same year. Watts Rebellion, Los Angeles. Cleveland Hughes riots, same year I'm born, 66. Chicago, Illinois, same year. Dayton, Ohio, same year. Hunts Point, San Francisco, same year. The Nashville race riots, 1967. Tampa Bay race riots, same year. Newark race riots, same year. Plainfield, New Jersey, same year. Detroit race riots, same year. Flint, Michigan, same year. Tucson race riots, same year. That's in Arizona. Grand Rapids, Michigan, same year. The King assassination, 1968. Tennessee. Hartford, Connecticut, 1969. Ashburn Park race riots in 1970. I think you should read up on that. That is a very interesting story. So I think you should take some time to look at that in the near future. Camden, New Jersey riots, 1969 and 1969 and 1971. Miami Liberty City riots, 1980. That's in Florida. Crown Heights, Brooklyn, New York riot, 1991. I was living at the time, so I know a lot from that. Rodney King, the famous one, 1992. West Las Vegas riots, 1992. Take a look at that. Very disturbing. St. Petersburg, Florida riots, 1996. College campus violence. University of Georgia desegregation riots, 1961. Ole Miss riots, 1962. Houston, Texas Southern University riots, 1967. Orangeburg massacre, 1968. Jackson State killing, 1970. Southern University shooting, 1972. 21st racial violence. Cincinnati riots, 2001. Oscar Gregg Oakland protest, 2009 through 2011. Ferguson riots and Ferguson unrest, 2014 to 2015. Baltimore protests and riots, 2015. Charleston Church massacre, same year. Milwaukee riots, 2016. Charlotte riots, same year. So what I'm speaking on, y'all, there's a trend of us as a people. They be doing this to us. But along the way, they have step up legislation. They have step up certain steps to put us down, to make us less than a human. So, but us as a people, we had rise above it, right? We have rise above it. So what I'm going to do before I'm gonna read about New York, let me show y'all some pictures. The first picture I'm going to show y'all is this. See, blow it up here. Let's see. Now, hold on. If y'all see what I'm talking about, it's the Black Massacres. You see, as y'all see, Chicago, all these cities. And these just a few. These just a few that's happened. You got Elaine, on Arkansas. You even got Clinton right here. The famous one, Rosewood, St. Bernard Parish. That's in Louisiana, New Orleans. I read Apotheos. That's in Louisiana's. Thapathol. That's also Louisiana. Slocum. Colfax. Vicksburg. That's Alabama. Memphis, Tulsa, Springfield. Ohio, East St. Louis, Detroit. Here we go. We're going to read about New York next. Washington, D.C., 1919. You got Philadelphia, 1985. Wilmington, Delaware. Charleston, South Carolina. F.O. Mississippi. Pinellas, Mississippi. Also in Georgia. So, as we see, this is very disturbing. And I'm gonna show you some more pictures while we're going to hit the show you some pictures. This is Elaine. This is the mess. This right here. This is at Elaine, Arkansas. So when people talk about, oh yeah, this is a rainbow collection. Okay, say that again. Wherever. Look at that, y'all. I mean, I know y'all don't like looking at this, but this they be still doing us right now. They still doing it. They still hanging us. Okay. This is not so long ago either. Look at this. This is they doing us. This is what they think about us, y'all. This is what they think about us. And we got the mindset. We still had the mindset of slaughter each other. And we play right into the system. (1919) Omaha, Nebraska. Look at that. 1919, y'all. Little 103 years ago. Omaha, Nebraska. 1919. Rosewood. I believe no, this is Tulsa. This is their birth. See, and it goes to show wherever we build for ourselves, they destroy it. Like they doing us today, like they doing today. But we don't get the picture. In this space, we don't get it. I know y'all get it, but we don't get it. Nah, we don't get it. We don't get it. And I know it's going to be some people say, oh, you got to understand and this and that. But this happening right now. See, we could, I mean, yeah, we could blame ourselves, yeah, but this is happening right now. But we play into their mindset. Look at this. Look at this, y'all. Not too long ago, 1923. 1921, I mean. Look at that. Look at that. Mary Turner, 1918. They hang her while she 8 months pregnant. Take a good look at that. Take a good look at that, family. Take a good look at that. Ain't no such thing as racism. Ain't no such thing. They killing us. You listen to some of these fools outside of space and inside of space. It's happening right now. There's a few years ago, there's a black man got hanged in New Orleans in a schoolyard. There's a young man got hanged in Washington State. That's just a few years ago. They find black, and I'm telling you this, in New York, they find black man, black woman be hanged. Within New York City, it's not being talked about. But if you go further up in New York, doing it for years. But we so part. Because everybody feel that some, I mean not everybody, but a lot of us feel, oh, the massacre just happened in the South. That is true, but it also happened in the North too. It's just that some of them is not being reported until we find out, like in the last few years. Now I'm gonna hit y'all with this one. I want you to go to go. Want you to go up. No, not that one. Not that one. I want you to go up on the chat, and then and you see the YouTube one, right? They talking about now. Before I hit the link, the YouTube one. I want you to hit that on your own spare time. They actually talk about how the slave owners was tying up our young babies to feed them to the alligators. And this is like happening in throughout the South, especially in Florida. So I want you to go see this very carefully. The mindset, this is really going on. Because it was throughout the years, they would say it was a myth. But the color find it was not a myth. It was not a myth. So I want you to hear that. And I want you to hear that if you have family members if you have kids like up in age, I think you should listen to that. Because this is disturbing. This is stuff they not really talking about in the space. They don't want to talk about the space. So when your free time, I want you to go hit that. All right. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna further up, we're gonna talk about this one. We're gonna read about this. The massacre happened in New York City, summer of 1863. If you notice that when I show y'all the map, right? Remember see New York 1863? Remember that there also was some more rises in New York right there? Okay. Now the map, this is one from Gottlimus. It's the title is A Massacre Happened in New York City in the summer of 1863, but nobody seems to know about it. And this is I'm gonna read anyway, then I'll talk about it. Then thanks y'all for coming. I very much appreciate it. 150 years ago this summer, let me see, what year it came out? This came out September 4th, 2021. September 4th, 2021. Again, 158 years ago this summer, a massacre occurred in New York City. From history books to Hollywood, it has been told as a violent uprising by poor Irish men against conscription into the Union Army during the Civil War. But the so-called draft riots was more about economic insecurity and white supremacy than draft dodging. As wealthy white people was buying their way out of fighting in the war, the white working class was fighting the war itself. Started, but they did not want to fight on behalf of the freedom of black people. So ironic is happening right now, as we see in this country. There are white people that some that they feel that they like some stay in the same level that we are, but when it comes for us, they still being racist. So ironic, right? Okay, let's get. I just need to bring it up. Hey, I'm going on Grinda. You know, I'm just saying. Connect the dots. All right? Let me read that part again. As wealthier white people, they were buying their way out of fighting the war. The white workers' class was fighting the war itself. Started, they did not want to fight on behalf of freedom of black people. Let's keep on going. What happened in New York City was the blueprint for how you form it through politicians, white mob violence against black bodies to politic effect, say Kamara Ware, the founder of the Black Gotham Experience, that's in New York, an organization dedicated to telling the untold history of Black New Yorkers. That record was cut here. Everyone else borrowed from the New York recipe. This happened 50 years before Tulsa. Let me read it again. That record was cut here. Everybody borrowed from New York recipe. This happened 50 years before Tulsa. Okay? And it happened before all other major race riots or not race riots massacre. They all happened mostly in the South, but it happened in New York first. Early this year, in the throat of the ongoing pandemic, Shed Houston Yards Cultural Center Commissioner Ware to create Fighting Dark, a self-guided audio and video tour examine New York City draft riots and its legacy of racial violence towards African Americans in the city. I took that tour, which guided me through various stops in Midtown Manhattan where served key incidents took place. The anniversary of the massacre summoned me to revise some of the sites against where. But first, I want to know why, as third generation African American New Yorker, I have never heard the full story of the draft riots before this. Matter of fact, I did a book report on this too back in high school. Come and think about it. Neither had my parents, who were also native New Yorkers, nor my grandparents, excuse me, before them. So I reached out to Professor Leslie Harris, author of The Shadow of Slavery, African American in New York City, 1626 to 1863, for an explanation. One of the reasons why so much of this early Black history is not known in New York City is that the 20th century history, particularly the history of the Harlem Renaissance, which is this amazing flowing of Black life, has overshadowed of a lot of 19th century history with the New York City draft riots, explained Harris. I think the reason it's not discussed and not widely known is that really obscured the story of triumph North Indian slavery. This idea that everyone was in North was unified ending Southern slavery. Harris described New York City as a place that has strong commercial and political ties to the South. So true. And it's still happening right now, family. Many people made their living based in Southern slavery. The port was fueled by cotton, and parts of cotton was a primary source of material clothing. And of course, so let me stop you right there. Also, the Indians had enslaved us as black people too, especially in New York throughout Long Island. So they were part of it too. I need to put that in. They are a part of it too. If you know that Dr. Carl Anderson was talking about the 1865 treaty, that was part of that. So when people talk about, the Indians enslaved black us as the people in the South. No, they was enslaved us back then too. But some of it was undocumented until later on when us as a people, we start like connecting the dots like in the 50s and the 60s and 70s and the 80s. I need to throw that in and everything. All right? So New York has a very complicated set of positions in relationships in the Civil War to Southern slavery, she said. Let me stop you right there. In Brooklyn, we have a park named Fort Greene Park. That's part of the Civil War, which really happened. And it was told there was a lot of dead black bodies and soldiers was in there, and it's like I should have took a picture and show it to y'all and everything. And it's a hell light. So throw that in. Bryan and Central Park. That's both in New in Manhattan. I met where in Bryant Park, named after, well, Bryant Park is right off Fifth Avenue, y'all, in Manhattan, New York, named after Will Cullen Bryan, a journalist and publisher who was an advocate for green space and abolition. The tragedy ironic that is that the largest park that helped establish Central Park is staging ground the worst racial massacre in New York City. Let me say this: before it was Central Park, it was Seneca Village, and it was prominent black people was living there. And what happened was the federal government has violated them, has kicked them out, and then that became Central Park. Let me throw that in. All right, okay. The date was July 11th, 1863. Central Park was the home of mostly black community. As I say, Seneca Village say where. The mayor that in the Seneca Village was under a Miss Dummy was Fernando Woods, the same racist mayor that wanted New York to be its own satellite city outside of the Union that would be in a lockstep with the South and supported of slave states that utilized slavery as a primary of economics. In 2011, a evacuation of Senegal Village site uncovered stone foundations, walls of thousands of artifacts from the residents. And then they put a bridge in Central Park in 1862, Curtis. Okay. Because of the creation of the Central Park that was happening during Civil War, black folks was the space he added, which then connect to other parts of the story. Because anywhere you go, all the places where black people were being attacked is that part of the dynamic of not having central place. Where explained that because black New Yorkers were scattered throughout Manhattan, they were easily overcome by the mob, unable to defend themselves as a collective group. Some black New Yorkers fled to Wheatsville, an African American neighborhood in Brooklyn, New York, founded by free slaves in the 19th century. And let me stop right there. When I started my channel back in late 2014, I did a story of Wheatsville, Brooklyn, two parts of my other channel, the other Rated Darkness, the main one. And I get so go way back. So that was the very first. That was the very first live I did of Wheatsville of my channel. One day I'm gonna pull it up so I can show you. Okay. People was going to Weeksville during this race riots because it was a different city. It was further away from the riots. It also because black people were able to own land and also have firearms and were able to protect that community. But black people were dispersed in part because of the destruction of the Seneca Village, former Seneca Village, now is Central Park, was easily targeted when it came to the mob attacking their homes and attack their bodies. Vincent Cordia, the secretary of the Merchants Release Committee for Suffering Colored People, later recounted this displacement in the New York Daily Tribune. These people was forced to take refuge on Blackwell's Island at a police station on the outskirts of the city, and the swamps woods back in Bergen, New Jersey, and Wheatsville, in the barns and outhouses of farmers on Long Island and Mosiana. The mob gathered in the morning and from a lot near Central Park. they traveled down Fifth Avenue. The color offers assume Fifth Avenue between 43rd and 44th. They show the picture right there. Follow me, y'all. Follow me. The color offers asylum. It was established by a Quaker woman in 1836. It was rumored that the worker class white man of New York was jealous that offering black children was getting this post treatment from white women. Come over here to 40, 30, 44. Just walk up and down Fifth Avenue and notice this blank space. It was once part of the color offers Usselum, which after it was torched that afternoon on Monday, July 13, 1863, was never rebuilt it where it was. Say where. It was rebuilt in 1867 on 143rd Street and Amsterdam Avenue. That's in Harlem. The New York Historical Society has survived two records from the authors, including a record book with the entry from July 25th, 1863, described what had occurred. On the July 13th, July at 4 p.m., an infuriated mob surrounded the premises at the asylum and 500 of them into the house. They deliberately set fire to it. It's simply it's simply because it was the home of the unfending colored orphanage children. These are wicked people. They set fire of our own children. The riots burnt the building down, but over 200 children escaped, seek refuge in a local police precinct. They would later relocate to Blackwell Island, today known as Roosevelt Island. Those children left here alive, but other children was killed that week. There's a child on Lexington and 28th that was beat down by a group of white men that died the next week, said where. You have a person who was with his grandmother, who we know, based on the record, was killed during this particular mob violence. Where stress solemnly is also a critical moment to understand that this is where begin to become more racial because on 45th and 47th Streets, not far from where we are going north, heading towards Third Avenue, which is where they was going towards the draft wheel. That had some of those classic signs, no draft, and were beating pans together. They actually showed the draft wheel of East 46th Street and Third Avenue. At the beginning of the war, the draft wheel was a kind of death lottery. The name of men eligible for the draft were written on slips of paper, dropped into a hole on the side of the wheel, and its official step up, giving the wheel a spin. Then the official pulled out names to fill the ranks of the Union Army. This symbolism of the draft to the people at the time was that you are drafting me into a war to end slavery. You are forcing me to fight for the federal army to end this system, but I don't want to participate in it. Professor Harris illustrate. The people who were against the draft said, do not bring me into this quote, unquote, nigger war. I do not want to fight that war. I do not want to fight a war on behalf of freedom of black people. The mob, which by the time got to Midtown had swelled to hundreds, invaded the draft, destroying the draft wheel and set on fire. If you were a black person that Monday and you just went to work, before your shift is over, the Manhattan area is about to be a very scary place. On July 18, 1863, the Times reported a mob has invaded the draft office on 3rd Avenue and 46th Street, destroying books and paper, attack office with brickbats and stone, overpowered the police, and buried the whole block. So it began to escalate. Once the officers Asylum were attacked and pushed back the fire department, cops, people trying to put out fires. None of them could control the mob, Ware said. And so it begins to escalate, saying Ware. They got weapons. They were a different kind of vulnerable force on the island. The Times report that in the afternoon, a crowd of over 1,000 men, armed and gun, clubs, pistols, and knives, collected and began searching all the houses in the vacancies for Negroes, swearing all sorts of vengeance against them. Does that remind you? Okay. If you were a black person that Monday and you just went to work before your shift is over, the Manhattan area is about to be a very scary place, said Ware. People were being attacked on their way home. People were attacked at their job. And so this was an important pivot on that Monday where things suddenly became more violent. The Times also offered this chilling account. It seems to be an understood thing throughout the city that Negroes should be attacked wherever found, wherever they offer any provocation or not. As soon as one of those unfortunate people was spied, whether on a cart, on a railroad cart, or in the street, he was immediately set upon by a crowd of men and boys. And unless some man of pluck came to his rescue, or he was fortunate enough to escape into a building, he was inhumanly, inhumanly beaten and perhaps killed. They were probably not less than a dozen of Negroes beaten to death in different parts of the city during the day. And they showed a picture, fleeting. Hmm. David Barnes, a member of all white police force at the time, wrote a detailed account when he witnessed the draft riots in New York City, July 1863. The riots commenced on Monday morning, July 13th, and was not entirely suppressed until the following Friday. The riots, which commenced on the first day of the draft, was untenable in opposition to it, but early took the character of an outbreak for the purpose of pillage and also an outrage of the colored population. Barnes recalled that for the first 3 days, business in the city was almost entirely suspended. The railroad and on the buses, seats running, the stores on Broadway, the avenues, and throughout the greater parts of the city was closed, and prowling gangs and ruffians rendered it unsafely to walk the streets. The mob burned down 50 buildings in those 3 days, he wrote. Amman was color offering awesome two police stations and an entire block of dwelling on Broadway. They showed a picture of attack on mob. On Wednesday, July 15, 1863, the article titled The Vengeance of the Mob Against the Negroes Randa heard an unarmed old black man was quoted as saying, "There are some thieves who get a crowd together and they take our lives and steal our property when they ask by a bystander. But you think it would be better to leave the town altogether?" The old man replied, "Where shall we go? By any large number of us get together anywhere, there is likely to be the same trouble. The truth is, we are safe nowhere except by ourselves." It took the Union Army to put down the rebellion. It is bigger ins- insurrection of the history of our country, and the target that entire week were black people, Ware said. Neither official records nor media accounts are to be trusted on the number dead. Mapping the massacre. We was in Herald Square. If you go down the block, there actually GameStop there. The address is James Costello used to be used to live, who was basically killed in front of his wife and his children, say where. Also 27th Street and 7th Avenue. We still talking about New York, y'all, which is now FIT, Fashion Institute of Technology. If you go over there, that's where someone else was taken out of their home and killed in front of his mother. They actually showed the map that taught the rise of 1863 New York. Here we have a city like New York with our budget and our prestige that is not even marked the location where people was killed. It's very important to African American history during the Civil War, he said. Keep in mind that it's about 11 days after the Gettysburg Battle, the bloodiest battle in Civil War, Wall said. In Tulsa, they have the Race Commission or Master Commission look into it. We ain't got that here. They at least know where people were murdered here. You could walk by a place where someone, where somebody black was murdered and not even know it. Newspaper account from the time made, newspaper account from the time marks some of the incident. Last night, a Negro caught in Oliver Street, read, read one report. An infuriated crowd began to beat him. He was forced to the end of the pier and forced into the East River. It's supposed that he drowned as his as his injuries had been disabled him, so he could not swim. No one made an effort to save him. Another read, an old Negro woman, nearly 70 years of age, was attacked by a sixth ward and badly beaten. Another another, William Jones, resident at 88 King Street, a wood sawyer by occupation, was hanged to a lamppost to set on fire. Hey, eyes love to talk. How you feel? Let me read that again. An old Negro woman, nearly 70 years of age, was attacked in the 6th Ward and badly beaten. And another, William Jones, resident of 88 King Street, a wood sawyer by occupation, was hung to a lamp post and set on fire. Still, many murder was untold, went untold. Poor Negroes, or what is left of them, and idly leaving the city. They complain they are hardly allowed the privilege of escaping. Everywhere in the city, they are driven like sheep, and numbers are killed, of whom no account will ever be learned. The reason why. Several theories submits the reason for the anti-black rage. New York has the second highest population of African Americans in the northern cities. Also, anti-black propaganda heavily promoted by local politicians alienate with the Southern cause, reinforce racist views about black people as intelligently and morally inferior, just as a species of the human race. The draft riot exposed the racism of white New Yorkers, Professor Harris said. There was a fear of some immigrants, New Yorkers, that blacks will gain freedom and then come compete with them for jobs. And this will threaten the social status of economic position of white immigrants. Harris added that the riots helped demonstrate even those who believe slavery was wrong still not believe that black people deserve equality. According to Harris, many think that New York City was the most southern of northern states at that time of the time, and there was pro-slavery advocate here as well, called Copperheads. Still happen today. An account edited by A. Hunter Dupree and Leslie Fisher Jr. reads: the severe of the New York disorder can be accounted for in several ways. The Irish population, the city was large and fairly cohesive. Even Archbishop John Hughes felt that the blame of participation could be justified laid on an Irish Catholic. Moreover, Copperhead influence in the city was strong as the military and police protection was weak. On the first day, a Marine detached 50 men fired blank cartridge at a mob and to disperse it, only to be attacked and eventually beating themselves fatally, fatally. As the company documents point out, the military was slow to organize and late to appear. Does that remind you today, y'all? The worst mob was to be said on First, Second, and Seventh Avenues. The press went to report countless lynching. The press went to report countless lynching. A man drowned in the East River. A boy pushed through a window. A man hanged from a lamp post at the corner of 25th Street and 7th Avenue. They were very hostile to Negroes, and Scarcely one of them is to be seen. A person who called at our house this afternoon saw three of them hanging together. They saw the picture of Fifth Avenue. What was lost? Hold on for 1 second, please. Police estimate that at least 1,000 persons was killed or wounded, the Times reported, and the Committee of County Supervisors appointed to adult property damage claim had by the end of 1863 approved payments of over a million dollars. But black people received very little, if any, of that money. Black people who lost land, who lost homes, who lost loved ones, ain't getting no insurance kickbacks. Well stated. They were taken care of. And its own reparation case, the black people who was kicked out of towns or murdered or lost homes and property. That's the whole other conversation about repair that New York needs to take care of at some point in time. This was done under the British or under the Dutch. This is United States, he stressed. During the time with the British and the Dutch, you never quite had this level of scale of massive black violence and massacres going down for a week. This is a specific American uniqueness out of all different European powers that even colonialized this land. We are a standout for that levels of violence, and we don't even acknowledge it. Education and the future. Where encourage people to dig deeper into their history, teach us, and what it leaves out. It talks about as the draft riots, even the Martin Scully's film, Gang of New York, but they use obstruction to make it look like it was just white on white violence with black person getting lynched in the middle somehow. A weird hate sandwich, he said. You got to ask yourself, how did popular movement of working class white men and white women turn into this outrage against black people that turned into lynching? How hold on, yo, hold on. Okay. I said, you got to ask yourself, how did a popular movement of working class and white man and white woman turn into this outrage against black people, again against black people that turned into lynching? How did that happen? And our question is unresolved. They showing how they hang the black man. Black Gotham Experience recently worked with the city of New York to honor the legacy of those black New Yorkers that perished during the riots. On on July 13th this year, Black Vision Day was enacted and is now a holiday in Manhattan. The goal of Black Vision Day is to announce the date of July 13th as it relates to Black New Yorkers. I don't know too many holidays that a city has that about Black people, Ware said. And July 13th comes with two significant historical events on that date in 1643. Catalina and Domingo Anthony was the first black people to become landowners, bestowing 20 acres of land by Dutch East India Company, which is now Chinatown. On the same day, 220 years later, the draft riots began transforming into a massacre of black people. When asked, the city would do anything to mark some of these locations where black people was killed during the draft riots. Zodiac Negro, the landmark preservation commissioner, shared his enacted map and said they had designed a number of sites that they direct connect to the 1863 New York City draft riots, including places where black families and residents were sheltered during the riots and where abolitionists and their residence was attacked. The city of New York did not respond to our request for comment on if they had plans to heighten awareness of Black Vision Day or formally mark the location of this massacre. Black Gotham Spirits will soon begin offering Fight Dark as a walk tour this past year, held virtually. More details here. That's the end. This came out in last year, and so let me show the. Hi, I love to talk. How you doing? And the title is "Let's Not Forget About the Black Massacres in This USA." And I just read about the massacres of 1863. So, let's see. Type something right now. Eyes love to talk. Type something now. Type something now. So I read about before about the massacres that we been through in the past throughout the South and throughout the East. Um, yeah, I know it's you. That's why I want you to type it because I did something for you, and I'm gonna show this again. You know, they show this again, family. This what they think of us. Not just white people. There's people that hate us. Massacre. Elaine, Arkansas. This is the map of the black massacres murdering us, getting hanged. No one. Red Summer, Omaha, Nebraska, 1919. Look at that. Tulsa, Oklahoma, I believe. Show another one. Got hanged. Mary Turner, she got hanged while pregnant, 8 months old. She was pregnant for 8 months. Hanged. Hanged, y'all. Hanged. Hanged. And you got this system. Oh, what's wrong? There's nothing wrong here. And we still getting hanged to this day. There's another politician, politics. Look what I was read about them. That was in New York. How do you think they got the idea from in Tulsa, Oklahoma in 1920 and 1921? New York. New York, New York is the place to be. People say you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere, right? But we was getting slaughtered. We was getting hanged in New York. Even in the South. But we still got the mindset right now that we don't need each other. The black man and the black woman, right? We was getting run down like savages and died. Getting drowned in water. But our injuries happened in New York. Not just the South. And in New York is not the only place that we was getting slaughtered in the northern states. They linked us even right now of the legislation. I always love to talk. If you want to come up to the panel, let me know. I'll send you the link if you want. But I guarantee you, some of the people in this space ain't gonna want to talk about it. Oh, that ancient times, you gotta understand. But see, the sad thing about us that when we adopt these wicked mindsets, some of us refuse to break the cycle. Thank you. Yeah, I read about Tulsa, Oklahoma too. Other massacres too in Detroit, certain parts of Georgia, certain parts of Mississippi. There's some happen in Delaware, New Jersey, riots like 50 years ago, more than 50 years ago. Brother Tyke, how you feel? Thanks for coming. Appreciate you. We had a black woman that was 105 years old. I believe it was like 2 years ago. She actually was telling the whole country of what happened. Matter of fact, her story had reached. She was in Congress, and they tell her story. They got the nerve to put a historical place. Oh, this is what happened and stuff. But where the reparations of our brothers, us for us, for our brothers and sisters, and the reparations of the rest of what happened to us in this country? Because I'm telling you this, and I know it. I know it. There had to be. I know more massacres was happening around the country, but it wasn't documented. I know. And it would not surprise me that it's going to be more going to be coming out in the future. It would not surprise me. Leave out the house. Hope I can put my key in the door when I get back. That's real. They still treat us like we less than. Like, you shouldn't fight. You gotta be you nah. Nah. I always gonna fight for our people, and that's how it's gonna be. I am a human being, and that's the end of the day. We didn't make up the rules. And they was not getting arrested, getting kicked out of our own land, getting burnt up, getting lynched while the baby in the stomach. There are some that when they lynched them on, they cut the baby in open and kill the baby right then and there. Okay? Sometimes they take the father out and everything and and, and do him dirty and hang him right there and shoot him and stuff like that. And burn them. Cut their genital parts up. Cut the lady's stuff out. But it's ancient, right? Okay. But the sad thing about it, we have the mindset. We carried the evil mindset, and that's why we fall apart. We have hatred among each other because we refuse to break the hatred cycle. See, we tend to deal with this hate, deal with this within ourselves instead of channel that to come together. So I urge people when you after you finish, when you hit finish, when you whatever time I cut this off, talk to your family about it, especially your non-black, because this is real. This is real, and it's happening right now. That's why you see school shootouts. Because there are some still think that we less than. Right in 2022. So anybody that wants to come up and speak, let me know. I send the link out. I got a few minutes. I got a few minutes to kill. If not, I'm shutting it down. But I'm glad the ones that came. I really appreciate it. That most likely they left, but I appreciate it. Thanks, Todd, Brother Todd, to come. Really appreciate it. Well, I mean, I forgot to turn on some music. Let me turn some. I'm turning some music a little bit, and I'm gonna shut this down. Turn the music. I'm gonna shut it down. Shut it down. Oh, no, that's not that one. I forgot to turn it on too. Nah, that's all right. Yeah, I'm glad you came out. Very much appreciated. Thank y'all so much. Well, appreciate that. Anytime, my pleasure. Whatever you missed, I always love to talk. I put the links in the chat. You can hit those and read that up on it. But thank you for coming. Thanks for appreciating. But I know this space. We need to hear that. New York, they probably think about New York was New York is the Mecca. That time New York was the Mecca of slavery. They was adopting what's going on and they enhanced it. New York was pushing weight in the South. They was pushing weight. Oh, we innocent. Oh, we ain't gonna talk like I said. We ain't talking about the Indians. How they did us. It's crazy. We still have massacre within us, and us as human beings. So I'm saying, get together, man. We're gonna end up genociding ourselves, man. Genociding ourselves. Yeah, I always love to talk. You hit me up after this because I'm ready to close this out. But I want to thank y'all so much. The title is "Let's Not Forget the Black Massacres in This USA." I read everything. I cover it. I really appreciate that. So that's it for me for the night. Stop this. And I appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Just remember, if y'all travel to your destination or home, single, you're married, or relationship, family members, friends, etc. Just remember, the climate out there is real and it's crazy. And we don't want nothing to happen to you. Take extra safety precaution to protect yourselves. Again, we don't want nothing to happen to you. This one is Ghost. Have a good night. Thank you very much. Um, and share this out. That we greatly appreciate it. Share this out. Have a good night. Stay blessed. Stay blessed. Stay blessed. This one is Ghost. Peace. Good night. Peace.